The station hung in space like a massive jewel. Ambassador Jiwoo stood at the window of her shuttle and watched it grow larger. Nexus Prime, they called it, the capital of the Galactic Confederation. Hundreds of alien ships moved around it like insects around a light. She had dreamed of this moment her whole life. Humanity's first real contact with aliens, first time sitting at the table with other intelligent species. Her assistant, a young man named Jae-min, stood beside her. His hand shook slightly as he held the diplomatic documents. "Are you nervous?" Jiwoo asked. "Should I not be?" Jae-min replied. "We are about to meet with beings from other worlds." Jiwoo smiled. "They should be nervous too. They are meeting us." The shuttle docked. The airlock opened with a hiss. Jiwoo stepped through and immediately noticed the temperature. It was warm, very warm, almost uncomfortable. The air smelled strange, like flowers and metal mixed together. A creature waited for them. It stood on 4 legs with a long neck and a small head. Its skin was smooth and gray. 2 large eyes watched them without blinking. "Welcome to Nexus Prime," the creature said through a translation device on its chest.
"I am Protocol Officer Vintar."
"Please follow me to the council chamber." They walked through wide corridors. Jiwoo noticed everything was built for creatures much larger than humans. The ceilings were high. The doorways were wide. Other aliens passed them, and Jiwoo tried not to stare. Some had wings. Some had shells. Some looked almost like plants. Every single one stopped and stared at the humans. The council chamber was enormous, a circular room with seats arranged in rising tiers. Hundreds of aliens sat watching as Jiwoo entered. At the center, on a raised platform, sat 5 beings. These must be the High Council members. The central figure was tall and thin, with pale blue skin and large dark eyes. She spoke first. "I am Counselor Mirai of Saltheria. Welcome, humans of Earth." Her voice was soft but carried through the chamber. "We have watched your world for some time. Your recent experiments with faster-than-light travel brought you to our attention." Jiwoo bowed slightly. "Thank you, Counselor. We are honored to meet you. Earth wishes to establish peaceful relations with the Confederation." A different counselor spoke. This one was massive, with thick armor-like skin and small eyes that glowed red. His voice was deep and harsh. "I am Commander Byung-ho of the Krell Empire. Your world is small. Your technology is primitive. Your species is unknown to us. The Confederation has rules. All species must join us or remain in their own systems. You cannot have both." Jiwoo kept her face calm. "We understand. However, Earth wishes to maintain its independence while building friendly relations with the Confederation." Byung-ho made a sound like grinding stones. It might have been laughter. "Independence. Little creature, you do not understand your position. You are weak. Your ships are slow. Your weapons are basic. The Confederation has destroyed entire star systems. We have conquered 1,000 worlds. What makes you think you can refuse us?" The chamber filled with sounds. Some aliens seemed to agree with Byung-ho. Others remained silent. Jiwoo felt Jae-min tense beside her, but she placed a gentle hand on his arm. "We refuse no one," Jiwoo said carefully. "We only ask for time. Time to understand your culture. Time to show you ours. Surely the Confederation values wisdom over haste." Counselor Mirai spoke again. Her voice was gentle but firm. "The ambassador speaks reasonably. Commander Byung-ho, perhaps we should learn more about these humans before making demands." Byung-ho growled. Another counselor leaned forward. This one had scales and multiple eyes. "I propose we send a survey team to Earth. Let us study their world, their capabilities, their worth. Then we can decide on proper terms for their membership." The council agreed. Jiwoo felt relief wash over her. It was not a victory, but it was not a defeat either. They had bought time. After the meeting, Jiwoo and Jae-min returned to their quarters on the station. Jae-min paced back and forth. "They look down on us," he said angrily. "Did you hear how they spoke? Like we are children. Like we are nothing. They judge by what they see," Jiwoo replied. She sat down and poured herself water. "They see our small ships and think we are weak. They do not know us yet. What if they decide to attack?" Jae-min asked. Jiwoo was quiet for a moment. Then she smiled. "Then they will learn why Earth has survived everything the universe threw at it." Across the station, in a military briefing room, General Tae-wan of the Rexian Guard received his orders. He was a tall alien, muscular and disciplined. He had fought in 17 campaigns and won them all. His reputation was spotless. When the council needed information, they called him. His commanding officer, a 3-eyed Saltherian, handed him a data tablet. "Survey mission. Simple reconnaissance. The new species, humans. Their world is called Earth. Find out what they have, what they can do, and what threat they pose. Taewon took the tablet and scanned the information. It says here their planet is classified as hostile environment. Level 9 conditions. That is unusual, yes. But they are a primitive species. Probably live underground or in sealed habitats. You know how it is with dangerous worlds. Life finds protected places. Taewon nodded. It made sense. He assembled his team quickly. 3 science officers, 2 intelligence specialists, and a medical expert. Their ship left Nexus Prime within hours. The journey took 5 days. Taewon spent the time reading everything available about humans. There was not much information. They had only recently developed space travel. Their technology was functional but basic. They had no energy shields, no plasma weapons, no quantum communications. By Confederation standards, they were barely space-capable. But something bothered him. The environmental data on Earth kept showing impossible numbers. He called his science officer Dal-Su. "These readings cannot be correct," Taewon said, pointing at the display. "The oxygen concentration is listed at 21%. That is toxic." Dal-Su checked his instruments. "The readings are correct, General. I have verified them multiple times. And the gravity? This says 1 full standard unit. Most species need half that." "Also correct, sir." Taewon looked at more data. Surface temperature swings of 60 degrees. Violent weather systems. Seismic activity. Volcanic eruptions. Asteroid impacts. The planet should be dead. It should be a wasteland. Yet the scans showed cities. Millions of them. Covering the entire surface, they must have incredible shielding technology, Dal-Su suggested, to protect their habitats from these conditions. That must be it, Taewon thought. Humans must live in protected domes or underground bunkers. That would explain everything. The hostile surface readings, the spread of civilization, all of it. Their ship entered Earth's solar system. They moved carefully, using stealth technology to avoid detection. They took position behind Earth's moon and began detailed scans. Dal-Su worked at his station, then suddenly stopped. His face went pale. "General, you need to see this." Taewon walked over. The screen showed a magnified view of Earth's surface. A city, tall buildings, wide streets, and in those streets creatures walked freely. Humans, thousands of them, walking on the surface, breathing the toxic air, standing in the crushing gravity without protection, without suits, without shields. Taewon stared at the screen. "Check the sensors again. There must be an error." Dal-Su's hands moved quickly over the controls. "No error, sir. The readings are accurate. They are walking on the surface. They are playing games. Look." The view shifted. A group of young humans kicked a ball back and forth. They laughed, they ran. In conditions that would kill any member of Taewon's crew in minutes. The medical officer spoke up, her voice shaking. "General, I need to revise my classification. Earth is not a level 9 hostile environment." "Then what is it?" She looked at him with wide, frightened eyes. "Level 10, sir. This is a Class 10 Deathworld. The highest possible rating. And these humans, they live on it like it is their home." Taewon felt something cold settle in his chest, a feeling he had not experienced in years. Fear. General Taewon could not sleep. His team had been observing Earth for 3 days now, and each day brought new horrors. He sat in his quarters staring at reports that made no sense. Reports that should not be possible. Dal-Su had broken into Earth's information networks. It was easy. Human security was basic compared to Confederation standards. Now they had access to everything. Medical records, historical databases, entertainment archives, educational materials. Taewon wished they had never looked. Dal-Su entered his quarters without knocking. The science officer's face was pale, his movements jerky. "General, I cannot continue this research. I formally request a transfer." Taewon looked up. "Request denied. What did you find?" "Everything," Dal-Su whispered. "I found everything, and I wish I had not." He placed a datapad on the desk. "Their evolutionary history. General, humans are apex predators, not like the Vrexians or Krell, who became apex through intelligence and tools. Humans were apex before they were intelligent." Taewon picked up the pad. He read slowly, his hands growing cold. Humans evolved as persistence hunters. They chased their prey for days. Not hours, days. The prey would run until its heart gave out from exhaustion. Humans could regulate their body temperature through liquid secretion. They could run in heat that would cook other species. They could track by scent, by sight, by disturbed ground. They never stopped. Never quit, just kept coming hour after hour, until their prey collapsed and died from pure exhaustion. No species in the Confederation hunts this way, Taewon said quietly. Because it is horrifying, Dalsu replied. But that is not the worst part. Look at their medicine. Taewon switched files. Human medical records. He read about broken bones that healed, torn muscles that regrew, organs that regenerated. Humans could lose large amounts of blood and survive. They could fight off infections that would kill any Confederation species in hours. Their immune systems were constantly at war with billions of microorganisms, and they won. They survived diseases. They survived injuries. They survived conditions that should end life. The medical officer, Hana, entered next. She did not ask permission either. General, I have been studying human recreational activities. Recreation? Taewon asked. What they do for fun. Hana sat down heavily. They jump off high places with only fabric to slow their fall. They climb mountains where the air is too thin to breathe. They dive deep underwater where pressure should crush their bodies. They do these things voluntarily. For enjoyment, Taewon pulled up the files. Extreme sports, they called them. Videos of humans throwing themselves from aircraft. Surfing on waves taller than buildings. Racing vehicles at speeds that would be fatal if they crashed. And they did crash. Often. Then they healed and did it again. They seek danger, Hana said. They crave it. When their lives are safe, they create danger artificially just to feel something. The intelligence specialist, Young-soo, was the last to arrive. He looked worse than the others. General, I have reviewed human entertainment media. They're fiction. They're stories, and they tell stories about surviving impossible situations, fighting monsters, defeating enemies against overwhelming odds. Their heroes are people who refuse to give up even when death is certain. They celebrate stubbornness. They admire those who keep fighting even when fighting is hopeless. Young-soo activated a display. Images filled the room. Humans fighting giant creatures. Humans surviving disasters. Humans at war with each other. Look at their war history, Young-soo continued. Thousands of years of constant conflict. They have fought each other with everything from sharpened rocks to atomic weapons. They have nearly destroyed themselves multiple times, and each time they survived and rebuilt. Taewon watched footage from human wars. The violence was shocking. Not because it was particularly brutal by military standards, but because of how casual it seemed. Humans fought like it was normal, like war was just another part of existence. Show me their weapons, Taewon ordered. Young-soo complied. Human weapons were primitive compared to Confederation technology. No plasma cannons, no molecular disruptors. Just kinetic projectiles, explosives, and chemical reactions. But they worked, and humans had refined them through centuries of killing each other. They have weapons designed specifically to maximize suffering, Young-soo said quietly. Not just to kill but to cause pain. They have rules about which weapons are too cruel to use, which means they created weapons so terrible that even they agreed not to use them. Taewon felt sick. His species had fought wars. Every species in the Confederation had. But war was always a last resort, something to avoid. Humans seemed to view it as inevitable, just another problem to solve with violence and determination. There is more, Dalsu said. He looked at the floor. Their biology has another feature. When threatened, their bodies flood with chemicals that increase strength, reduce pain sensation, and improve reaction time. They call it adrenaline. It allows them to perform impossible physical feats when in danger. Like a last defense mechanism? Taewon asked. No, sir. It activates regularly. Dozens of times per day for some individuals. They live in a constant state of low-level readiness for combat. Their bodies assume threats are everywhere. Because on Earth, Taewon realized threats were everywhere. The planet itself was hostile. The wildlife was dangerous. Even the weather could kill. Humans evolved assuming everything was trying to kill them, because it was. Hana spoke up again. I studied their childhood development. General, they teach their young about danger from the earliest age. Human children learn to identify poisonous plants, dangerous animals, and environmental hazards before they learn mathematics. Survival education is mandatory. Of course it is, Taewon muttered. On a Deathworld, you teach survival first. But they are not on a Deathworld anymore, Hana said. They have cities, technology, safety, yet they still teach their children as if death waits around every corner. Because for millions of years it did, Taiwan replied. You cannot remove that fear in a few generations of safety. It is built into them now. The team sat in silence. Outside, through the viewport, Earth turned slowly. Beautiful blue and green and white. It looked peaceful. It looked like paradise. It was a lie. What do we tell the council? Young Su asked. Taiwan stood and walked to the viewport. He pressed his hand against the glass. Down there, billions of humans lived their lives. They worked, played, loved, and died, just like any other species. But they were not like any other species. They were survivors, predators, warriors who had been fighting for their entire existence and did not know how to stop. We tell them the truth, Taiwan said. We tell them that Earth is not a world we can conquer. We tell them that humans are not a species we want as enemies. The council will not believe us, Dalsu said. Commander Byung-ho will call us cowards. Then he can come here himself, Taiwan replied. He can breathe their toxic air, stand in their crushing gravity, walk among creatures who evolved to never stop hunting. Let him call me a coward after that. Taiwan turned back to his team. They looked exhausted, frightened. He felt the same way. Pack everything. We leave tonight. I need to make my report to the council before Byung-ho decides to attack these people. You think he would? Hana asked. He is Krell. He has never lost a battle. He will not believe that humans are dangerous until it is too late. Taiwan looked at each of his team members. And I do not want to be here when he learns the truth. The ship departed Earth's solar system 6 hours later. Behind them, humanity continued its existence, unaware that they had been observed. Unaware that an alien general now feared them more than any enemy he had ever faced. As they jumped to faster-than-light speed, Taiwan sat in his command chair and began writing his report. He had no idea how to explain what he had learned. How do you tell a galaxy that it has discovered its worst nightmare? How do you explain that somewhere in the universe there is a species that evolved in hell and decided to make it their home? How do you warn them that these creatures now have spacecraft? Taiwan did not know, but he had to try. Because if the Confederation went to war with humanity, it would be the last war the galaxy ever fought, and he was not sure which side would win. Commander Byung-ho sat in the medical bay of a human station. His wounds had been treated. His broken arm had been set and placed in what humans called a cast. He stared at it in disbelief. By Confederation medical standards, his arm should have been amputated. The bone had been shattered in 3 places. The tissue was too damaged to heal. But human doctors had operated on him for 6 hours. They used metal pins to hold the bones together. They used something called antibiotics to prevent infection. They told him the arm would heal in 8 weeks, 8 weeks, to heal an injury that should have crippled him for life. The door opened. A human entered. He was young, with kind eyes and a gentle manner. He wore no uniform, just simple clothes. He carried a data pad and a cup of what humans called tea. Good morning, Commander, the human said. I am Dr. Sang-ho. I am a xenobiologist. I have been assigned to help you understand your situation. Byung-ho said nothing. He watched the human with wary eyes. Sang-ho sat down across from him. He offered the tea. Byung-ho did not take it. I know you are confused, Sang-ho said. You expected humans to be weak. You expected an easy victory. Instead, you lost ships, lost crew. And now you are our prisoner. You are trying to understand what happened. You are monsters, Byung-ho said finally. His voice was hoarse. You fight like animals. You do not surrender. You do not show mercy. You would rather die than retreat. Sang-ho nodded slowly. From your perspective, yes. We must seem monstrous. But Commander, we are not monsters. We are survivors. There is a difference. Survivors, Byung-ho repeated. You call what you did surviving? You rammed ships. You boarded vessels while your own ship was dying. You fought in conditions that should have killed you. Yes, Sang-ho said simply. That is what surviving means to us. On Earth, giving up means death. So we do not give up. Ever. He pulled up images on his datapad, pictures of Earth, mountains, oceans, forests, cities. Our world tried to kill us every day. Predators hunted us. Weather killed us. Disease killed us. Other humans killed us. We evolved knowing that death was always one mistake away, so we learned to never make that final mistake. We learned to keep fighting even when fighting seemed hopeless. Byung-ho looked at the images. They showed beauty, peace, not the nightmare world he had imagined. Your world looks peaceful, he said. It is now. We made it peaceful. But it took us 200,000 years to do it. 200,000 years of fighting, learning, adapting, refusing to die. Sang-Ho changed the image. Now it showed a hospital, human doctors working on patients. We also learned to help each other, to protect the weak, to heal the wounded. Survival is not just about violence, Commander. It is about community, about refusing to let our people die. Byung-ho thought about his arm, about the human doctors who had spent hours saving it. They could have let him suffer, could have left him crippled. They were his enemies, but they had helped him anyway. Why did you save my arm? He asked. Because you are injured. Because we can help. Because leaving someone in pain when we have the ability to help them is wrong. Sang-Ho smiled slightly. We may be dangerous, Commander, but we are not cruel. There is a difference. Over the next 3 weeks, Sang-Ho visited Byung-ho every day. They talked about Earth, about humanity, about the Confederation. Slowly, Byung-ho began to understand. Humans were not monsters. They were just different. They had evolved in conditions that would kill any Confederation species. Those conditions had shaped them into something the galaxy had never seen before. Relentless, resilient, adaptable, but they were also capable of great kindness, great loyalty. They protected what they called theirs with terrifying ferocity, but they also welcomed strangers with open arms if those strangers came in peace. One day, Sang-Ho brought a different visitor. General Tae-wan entered the room. He looked older than Byung-ho remembered, tired, but there was relief in his eyes when he saw Byung-ho alive. Commander, Tae-wan said quietly, I tried to warn you. You did, Byung-ho replied. I did not listen. I thought you were being a coward. I was wrong. They sat in silence for a moment. Finally, Byung-ho spoke again. What will happen now? Will the Confederation declare war? Tae-wan shook his head. No, the Council is terrified. We lost 12 ships to 3 human vessels. The entire galaxy now knows what humans are capable of. No one wants to fight them. So we will make peace? We will try. Ambassador Jiwoo is negotiating with Counselor Mirei now. They are working on a treaty, one that respects human independence while bringing them into the Confederation as partners, not subjects. Byung-ho looked down at his healing arm, at the cast that held his shattered bones together, at the evidence of human medicine that had saved a limb Krell doctors would have cut off. They are not what I expected, he said quietly. No one is, Tae-wan replied. That is why I came here. To see for myself, to understand them better. Sang-Ho spoke up. General Tae-wan has asked to visit Earth. Ambassador Jiwoo has approved. Would you like to come, Commander? To see the Deathworld for yourself? Byung-ho felt fear at the thought, but also curiosity. He had fought these humans, had lost to them, but he had never truly seen their world, never understood where they came from. Yes, he said finally, I will come. 3 days later, they arrived at Earth. Byung-ho and Tae-wan stood in the observation deck of the orbital station, looking down at the planet. It was beautiful, blue and green and white, peaceful. They took a shuttle down to the surface, to a city called Seoul. Byung-ho wore an environmental suit. The atmosphere was poison to him. The gravity was crushing. Even with the suit, he felt uncomfortable, but the humans walked freely. They wore no protection. They breathed the toxic air and moved in the heavy gravity as if it was normal, because for them it was. Ambassador Jiwoo met them at the landing pad. She smiled and bowed slightly. Welcome to Earth, General Tae-wan, Commander Byung-ho. We are honored by your visit. She took them on a tour. They saw human cities, schools where children learned, hospitals where doctors healed, parks where families relaxed. Everything looked normal, peaceful, civilized. But Byung-ho could not forget what these peaceful people were capable of, could not forget how they fought, how they refused to surrender. That evening, Jiwoo invited them to a formal dinner. Many humans attended. Diplomats, scientists, military officers. They talked and laughed. They were friendly and welcoming. Captain Hyejin was there. Her arm was bandaged from the battle, but she seemed relaxed. She even smiled when she saw Byung-ho. Commander Byung-ho, she said, I hope your accommodations have been comfortable. Byung-ho did not know what to say. This woman had captured him, had defeated his entire fleet, but she spoke to him with courtesy and respect. They have been adequate, he managed. During the dinner, there was an accident. A human server dropped a glass. It shattered. Sharp fragments flew everywhere. One piece cut Taewan's arm, right through a gap in his environmental suit. Blood poured from the wound. For Taewan's species, such blood loss was fatal. His body could not produce more blood fast enough. He would die in minutes, but the humans moved instantly. Medical staff appeared from nowhere. They pressed cloth against the wound. They lifted Taewan and carried him to a medical room. They worked with efficient calm, stopping the bleeding, cleaning the wound, treating him. Within an hour, Taewan was stable. The doctors said he would recover fully, but one of the human staff laughed as he cleaned up. He showed his own arm, which had several scars. "Oh, that is nothing. One time I cut my hand on a saw. Needed 20 stitches. Was back at work the next day." The other humans nodded. One woman showed a scar on her leg from a childhood accident. A man talked about breaking his arm twice. They discussed their injuries like they were talking about the weather. Casual, normal. Taewan excused himself. He went to his room. Byung-ho followed him. They found Taewan sitting on his bed, his head in his hands. He was shaking. "General?" Byung-ho asked. Taewan looked up. His eyes were wide. "I almost died tonight." From a simple cut. And the humans did not even consider it serious. They saved my life, and then they laughed about worse injuries they had survived. Do you understand what that means? Byung-ho understood. He understood completely. Humans were kind. They were gentle. They were compassionate. They had saved Taewan without hesitation. They had healed Byung-ho's arm. They welcomed strangers and treated them with respect. But they were also unbelievably resilient. What would kill any Confederation species was just an inconvenience to them. They lived every day in conditions that would be fatal to their guests. And they did not even notice. They were not monsters. But they were not like anyone else in the galaxy either. They were something new, something unprecedented. They were humans, and they chose to be kind despite having the capacity to be otherwise. That, Byung-ho realized, was perhaps the most terrifying thing of all. Because it meant their violence was not mindless. It was controlled, deliberate. A choice they made when threatened, which meant that as long as you did not threaten them, they would be your greatest ally. But if you did threaten them, they would be your worst nightmare. The choice, Byung-ho thought, was obvious. The Confederation needed to make peace with humanity, not because humans were weak, but because they were strong, and because it was far better to have Deathworlders as friends than as enemies. Captain Hee-jin sat in the command chair of the UNSS Indomitable and watched the sensor display. 43 vessels, all alien, all moving toward the human colony at New Seoul. "Communications," she said calmly. "Status?" Her communications officer, a young woman named Sora, shook her head. "Nothing, Captain. They are ignoring all hails. They have been in our space for 6 hours now." Hee-jin had expected this. After the council meeting, after Ambassador Ji-woo reported the aliens' arrogance, she had known conflict was coming. The Confederation did not understand humanity yet. They still thought humans were weak. They would learn. "How long until they reach the colony?" Hye-jin asked. 2 hours at current speed, her tactical officer replied. "Captain, we are badly outnumbered. They have 43 ships. We have 1. Even with our destroyers Daegu and Busan joining us, we will be fighting 14-1 odds." "Noted," Hye-jin said. "Weapons status?" "All railguns loaded and ready. Missiles armed. Point defense systems online." "Captain, should we call for reinforcements?" "No. By the time they arrive, this will be over, one way or another." On the Krell flagship, Commander Byung-ho watched his tactical display with satisfaction. 3 human ships. Small. Primitive. They would be destroyed in minutes. Then he would take the colony and the council would see that humans were nothing special. Just another weak species trying to appear strong. Taewan was a coward. He had let fear cloud his judgment. But Byung-ho was not afraid. He had fought in 27 battles and won them all. These humans would not be his first defeat. His second-in-command, Officer Kyun-woo, approached. "Commander, the human ships are not retreating. They are holding position between us and the colony." "Foolish," Byung-ho growled. They think 3 ships can stop us. Prepare the fleet. We will destroy them quickly and move on to the colony. Sir, should we attempt communication? Perhaps they will surrender? Byung-ho laughed. They have had hours to surrender. They have chosen death. Give them what they want. Fire a warning shot across their lead ship. Show them our power. The Krell fleet opened fire. Plasma bolts streaked through space, passing just in front of the Indomitable. The shots were meant to intimidate, to show superior firepower, to make the humans realize their mistake. On the Indomitable, Captain Hai-Jin watched the plasma fire pass. She leaned forward slightly in her chair. They fired first, she said quietly. Transmit one message on all frequencies. Make sure they understand. Sora nodded. Message ready, Captain. Send it. The message was simple. 3 sentences in standard Confederation language. Byung-ho heard it on his command screen, spoken in a calm, female voice. You have fired upon human territory. You have one opportunity to withdraw. This is your only warning. Byung-ho roared with laughter. His crew joined him. A warning? From 3 tiny ships facing his entire fleet? The arrogance was almost admirable. Destroy them, Byung-ho ordered. All ships open fire, full assault. 43 ships opened fire at once. Plasma weapons, particle beams, and kinetic missiles filled space with deadly light. The Confederation fleet had enough firepower to crack a planet. Surely 3 human ships would be vaporized instantly. But the human ships moved. They did not retreat. They did not surrender. They moved forward, into the weapons fire, toward the fleet. Sir, the humans are advancing, Kyun-woo shouted. They are coming right at us. Impossible, Byung-ho said, but his display showed the truth. 3 human ships charging directly into 43 Confederation vessels. It was suicide. It made no tactical sense. Unless the humans did not care about survival. Unless they only cared about inflicting damage. The Indomitable fired. Not plasma. Not energy weapons. Solid metal slugs, accelerated to incredible velocity by magnetic rails. The railgun rounds hit a Krell cruiser and punched straight through its shields. The shields were designed to dissipate energy. They did nothing against solid matter moving at relativistic speeds. The cruiser exploded. What was that weapon? Kyun-woo yelled. Kinetic projectiles, Byung-ho said slowly. Primitive but effective. Focus fire on that ship. 20 ships concentrated their fire on the Indomitable. The human ship should have been destroyed, but it twisted and rolled, moving with impossible agility for a vessel its size. Some shots missed, others hit, and the human ship shuddered, but kept coming. On the bridge of the Indomitable, alarms screamed. Hull breaches on 3 decks, fires in engineering, atmosphere venting from multiple sections. Damage report, Yijin said. Her voice was still calm. Shields at 40%, hull integrity at 65%. We have casualties in sections. 7 through 12, her damage control officer reported. Can we continue? Yes, Captain. Then we continue. Tactical, target their flagship. All weapons. The Indomitable fired again, and again. Each shot destroyed or crippled a Confederation ship. The 2 destroyers Daegu and Busan spread out, firing their own weapons. They were smaller, but they were fast. They darted between enemy ships, firing, dodging, drawing fire away from the Indomitable. The Confederation fleet was in chaos. They had expected an easy victory. They had expected the humans to fight defensively, to try to survive. They did not expect humans to attack, to push forward even while taking damage, to accept casualties as the cost of inflicting harm. The destroyer Busan took a direct hit from 3 ships at once. Its reactor went critical, but instead of trying to save the ship, the captain did something Byung-ho could not understand. He aimed the dying ship at a Confederation carrier and accelerated to full speed. They are ramming us, someone on Byung-ho's bridge screamed. The Busan hit the carrier at full velocity. Both ships exploded in a ball of nuclear fire. 2,000 Confederation crew died instantly. 100 human crew died with them, but the humans had known they were dying. They had chosen to make their deaths matter. Sir, we need to withdraw, Kyunwoo said. We have lost 12 ships. The humans are not stopping. They will not stop. Byung-ho stared at his display. The Indomitable was heavily damaged now. Atmosphere leaked from dozens of holes. Fires burned on half its decks, but it was still firing, still advancing, still coming for his flagship. All ships, fall back to defensive formation, Byung-ho ordered. His voice was hollow. Concentrate fire on the human flagship. Kill it now. Every remaining Confederation ship fired at once. The Indomitable disappeared in a storm of weapons fire. When the light cleared, the ship was a wreck. Its hull was broken. Its engines were gone. It drifted, dead in space. Byung-ho felt relief wash over him. Finally, the human ship was destroyed. The battle was won. Then his sensors detected movement, small objects separated from the wreckage of the Indomitable. Dozens of them, moving toward the Confederation ships with purpose. What are those? Byung-ho demanded. Boarding pods, sir. The humans are launching boarding pods. They are abandoning their ship and coming for us. Byung-ho felt ice in his chest. The ship was destroyed. The battle was lost. Any sane species would surrender now, would try to save their crew, would accept defeat. But humans were not sane, not by Confederation standards. The boarding pods hit. They cut through hull metal with plasma torches. Human soldiers poured into Confederation ships, soldiers wearing sealed combat suits, soldiers carrying primitive kinetic weapons, soldiers who had just lost their ship and decided to keep fighting anyway. One pod hit Byung-ho's flagship. Alarms blared as the hull was breached. Security teams rushed to intercept the boarders. They never stood a chance. Confederation security troops were trained for ceremonial duties and riot control. They had never fought in close quarters, never fought in zero gravity, never fought enemies who moved like predators and struck like lightning. The humans cut through them in minutes. Byung-ho heard the sounds over his ship's internal communications. Gunfire, explosions, screaming. His crew was dying. Deck by deck, his ship was being taken by a force that should have been dead. The bridge door exploded inward. Humans entered. 6 of them in armor moving with coordinated precision. Their weapons were raised. Their movements were efficient, professional. The lead soldier was a woman. Through her helmet visor, Byung-ho saw her eyes. They were calm. Focused, determined. It was Captain Hyejin. Commander Byung-ho, she said in his language. I am placing you under arrest for attacking human territory. Order your fleet to withdraw immediately, or we will take every ship you have. Byung-ho looked at her. She was bleeding from a wound on her arm. Her armor was scorched. She had just lost her ship, lost most of her crew. She should be surrendering to him. Instead, she was giving him orders, and he realized, with absolute certainty, that she would do exactly what she said. These humans would fight until every one of them was dead, and they would take as many Confederation soldiers with them as they could. Taiwan had been right. Taiwan had tried to warn them, but Byung-ho had not listened. Now it was too late. All ships, Byung-ho said slowly, withdraw from human space. Cease all hostile action immediately. The Confederation fleet retreated. 31 ships returned to Confederation space. 12 had been destroyed by 3 human vessels and their crews. And Commander Byung-ho, the great Krell warrior who had never lost a battle, was now a prisoner of the species he had called primitive, the species that refused to die. The council chamber was full. Every seat occupied. Representatives from 300 species waited to hear General Taewan's report on the humans. Commander Byung-ho sat in the front row, his armored body relaxed, confidence radiating from every movement. He expected a simple report followed by authorization for invasion. Counselor Mireille called the session to order. Her gentle voice somehow carried through the massive chamber. General Taewan of Vrexia will now present his findings on the species known as humans and their homeworld, Earth. General, you may proceed. Taewan walked to the central platform. He had not slept well since returning from Earth. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw images of humans doing impossible things. walking in poison, living in violence. Smiling as they jumped into danger, he activated the display. Earth appeared, rotating slowly above the platform. Beautiful. Deadly. Honored Council, Taewon began. 3 weeks ago, you sent me to observe Earth, to assess the human threat level, to determine if they could be easily incorporated into the Confederation. He paused. I must report that my findings are deeply troubling. Byung-ho snorted. Several other counselors looked amused. They thought he was being dramatic. Earth has been classified as a Class 10 Deathworld, the highest possible danger rating. Let me explain what this means. Taewon changed the display. Environmental data filled the air. The oxygen concentration in Earth's atmosphere is 21%. For comparison, most Confederation species require 5 to 8%. Anything above 12% is considered toxic. Humans breathe this toxic mixture every moment of their lives. Their bodies require it. The amusement in the chamber faded slightly. Counselors leaned forward. Earth's gravity is 1 full standard unit. Most Confederation species evolved in 0.4 to 0.7 gravity. Humans evolved in crushing weight. Their bones are dense. Their muscles are powerful. They carry themselves in conditions that would cripple us. Taewon changed the display again. Temperature maps appeared. Earth's surface temperature varies by 60 standard degrees between day and night in some regions, by 90 degrees between seasons. Humans live in all of these regions. They adapt. They survive. They thrive. Byung-ho stood up. General, this is all very interesting, but you are describing environmental challenges. Challenges that their technology overcomes. This is not relevant to their military capabilities. Sit down, Commander, Taewon said quietly. I am not finished. The tone in his voice made Byung-ho pause. The Krell commander slowly sat back down. Humans do not overcome these challenges with technology, Taewon continued. They overcome them with biology. Let me show you. The display changed to show human anatomy. The council chamber fell silent as Taewon explained. Their cardiovascular system, capable of delivering oxygen efficiently through the toxic atmosphere. Their skeletal structure, designed to support weight and high gravity. Their muscular system, built for endurance and explosive power. Humans are persistence hunters, Taewon said. Do any of you know what that means? No one answered. It means they chase their prey until it dies from exhaustion. Not minutes, not hours, days. Humans can run for days without stopping. Their prey collapses and dies while humans are still fresh enough to continue. Shocked murmurs filled the chamber. Taewon pressed on. Their biology includes redundant systems, 2 lungs, 2 kidneys, multiple organs that can compensate for damage. They can survive losing significant portions of their blood volume. They can heal from injuries that would be fatal to any of us. He showed footage next. Humans running marathons, climbing mountains, swimming in oceans, all without any visible protective equipment. These are not trained warriors, Taewon explained. These are civilians, ordinary humans engaging in recreational activities, for enjoyment. A counselor from Theta 7 raised a tentacle. Surely they wear protection, environmental suits? No, Taewon replied. They wear clothing for warmth and modesty, nothing more. They do these things with only their natural biology. Counselor Mireille spoke up, her voice was troubled. General Taewon, what about their psychology? Are they aggressive by nature? Taewon hesitated. This was the hardest part to explain. Yes and no, Counselor. Humans are pack animals. They form strong social bonds. They are capable of great kindness and compassion. They care for their young intensely. They create art, music, and literature of remarkable beauty. He paused. But they are also warriors. They have been fighting for their entire existence, fighting their environment, fighting their planet's wildlife, fighting each other. They have spent millennia perfecting the art of violence. The display shifted to show human history, wars, battles, conflicts spanning thousands of years. They have fought wars with projectile weapons, with chemical weapons, with biological weapons, with atomic weapons. They have nearly destroyed themselves multiple times. and each time they survived and continued. This proves they are primitive, Byung-ho called out. They cannot control their violent impulses. No, Commander, Taewon replied. This proves they are survivors. They learned to fight because everything on their world was trying to kill them. Their violence is not mindless, it is calculated, strategic, effective. He showed more footage. Human military training. Soldiers running through obstacles, climbing walls, fighting hand-to-hand. Their movements were efficient, brutal, practiced. Humans trained for combat as part of normal education. Their soldiers are conditioned to function in extreme stress. They practice scenarios where they are wounded, exhausted, or outnumbered, because on Earth these situations are expected. A counselor from the Dravis Collective stood. She was shaking. General, are you saying these humans are invincible? No, counselor, they can be killed. They are mortal, like us. But they are very, very difficult to stop. And more importantly, they do not give up. Ever. Taewon activated his final piece of evidence. Human entertainment media. Movies about disasters, survival, war. Stories about people facing impossible odds and winning through determination and sacrifice. This is what they watch for entertainment, Taewon said. This is what they consider relaxing. Stories about survival against overwhelming danger. Stories about refusing to surrender even when death is certain. This is their idea of fun. The chamber was completely silent now. Every counselor stared at the display. They watched humans fighting aliens in their fiction, humans surviving zombie apocalypses, humans battling robots, humans never giving up, no matter what. These are their dreams, Taewon said quietly. These are their fantasies. They dream about surviving disasters, about fighting monsters, about being the last one standing against impossible odds. He turned off the display. The chamber lights came back up. Taewon looked at each counselor in turn. My recommendation to this council is simple. Do not attack humanity. Do not threaten them. Do not give them a reason to view us as enemies. Because if we go to war with Earth, we will win the first battle, maybe the second. But humans do not stop. They will keep coming. They will adapt. They will learn. They will sacrifice whatever they must to survive. And eventually, they will win. Byung-ho exploded. He stood up, his armored skin flushing red with rage. Coward? You are a coward, Taewon, the mighty Vrexian general afraid of primitives. They have no shields, no plasma weapons, no quantum armor. We could destroy them with a single fleet. Taewon met his gaze calmly. Then you should go to Earth, Commander. You should breathe their atmosphere, stand in their gravity. Look into the eyes of a species that evolved by refusing to die. Do that, and then tell me if you still want to fight them. Byung-ho snarled. I will do exactly that. I will show this council that humans are nothing to fear. I will return with their surrender, or I will return with their ashes. He stormed out of the chamber. Half the military council followed him. Counselor Mireille looked at Taewon with sad eyes. Do you truly believe humans are that dangerous, General? Taewon thought about the videos he had seen. Humans laughing as they jumped from aircraft. Humans running marathons in 100-degree heat. Humans telling stories about never surrendering. Counselor, I believe humans are the most dangerous species we have ever encountered. Not because they are evil, not because they are cruel, but because they survived a world that tried to kill them every single day. And they did not just survive. They conquered it. They made it their home. They made themselves masters of a death world. He looked at the empty space where Earth's image had been. And now they have spacecraft. Now they can leave their world. Now they are coming to meet us. We should be very, very careful how we greet them. Mireille nodded slowly. But she looked at the door where Byung-ho had exited, and Taewon knew what she was thinking. It was already too late.